Hi, my name is Myra.
And I'm Sochil, and this is B2B TV, Besties in Business, and we are here in Brooklyn at Rampatina Studios. I am really excited because today we are talking to a business owner, but more importantly, her business is really awesome, and she is in the business of being an intuitive advisor. Gemma Deller, who is our full disclosure, she's our intuitive advisor, and you're partially watching Besties in Business because she told us that it was going to be a really good thing. So, Gemma, do you want to talk a little bit kind of about what it is that you do and how you go about doing it, so people will understand a little bit more about kind of what we're getting deep today. It's going to be awesome.
It's good to get deep. So, so basically I advise people like you guys are great clients because you want to move ahead. And for me, that's the client that I love to work with, is somebody that isn't stuck in the old head of, you're an intuitive, AKA what used to be called a psychic, so tell me what my future is.
Right.
No can do. That's not what we do. So, for instance, you guys come to me and you say, what do you think about these ideas? Or do you have any ideas for a path? And I can see where your energy is sending you versus where you could potentially go, and will advise the client to do that. And it's honestly, it's one of the most thrilling things for me is to, and I'll go to I work with a lot of creatives, a lot of artists like yourselves, and I'll go to their first performance, or I'll go to them getting to another level. And for me, there's nothing in the world like seeing somebody who was afraid to step on a stage, or afraid to play an instrument, or afraid to take something that they're really good at to another level.
How do you go about telling yourself? And I mean, I feel like you're in an industry very different, but sort of similar to us in that what you do, like your friends will ask you for help all the time, and I'm sure people are like, tell me where my energy is, Yeah. So how do you draw the line and have boundaries of, this is also something that you do that is monetized. So how much of it do you give? Are you willing to do for friends and people that you meet, and how, tell us about that.
So I start the business, and I kind of set out to almost fail. Like, when this fails, I'm going to laugh in everybody's face, and I'm going to go back to journalism and documentary making, which was my thing.
Right.
Didn't happen. But what I said to myself is, I am not going to kind of make myself cheaper. You have to know the industry you're in, and in this industry, you don't want to put up big neon signs.
Right.
So I literally said, okay, well, I'll attract whatever clientele is right for me, and then through word of mouth, if this is meant for me to do, it'll start to get around. Recently, I've gotten more okay with saying this is what I do, but I still kind of am a little shy about it, because I really do come from the place of, if it's gonna be successful, it's gonna be successful.
Right.
And it's more important for me to have fun at what I'm doing and enjoy what I'm doing and put my heart into what I'm doing than worry about how many clients I'm gonna have, because they come.
Right.
As far as boundaries are concerned, that was much harder for me, because I adore my friends and I don't like to really say no to them. But at the same time, I needed to, there's this theory kind of in this industry, the healing industry, of you have to be destitute and you have to not make money. And I'm like a 5-star girl. I like my amenities in life, so I'm not really trying to be, struggling like that. So what I did with my friends, so first of all, I knew my value. I started to know my value the more I did this, and I started to charge my value whether or not anyone was gonna come. I was like, if they're not gonna come, I don't want to feel bad about what I do at the end of the day.
Right.
But the second thing with my friends is I basically, number one, if I'm at a party or something, if you're a singer, I'm not going to ask you to bust into a song.
Right.
Right? So
you're not going to do parlor tricks for people. Right. No,
I say that all the time. I'm not a circus monkey. So when I'm sure, I know it's tempting to be like, oh, once they hear what I do, it's like, oh, what do you read in me? And it's like, I've learned how to focus. It's about focus. So I've learned how to focus away from seeing your grandmother, or hearing something that's advice for you.
Right.
And with my friends, what I do is I get once a year, I offer a free reading to them.
Yeah.
And so, that to me is the way that I can give, but also the way I can set a boundary.
Yeah.
And I mean, the other thing is, it would be exhausting for me to go around. And also, I don't agree that just because I know stuff, I have the right to walk up to you and say, this is what's going to happen.
Like Long Island medium.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, I mean, I have a...
No, but like that's sort of assault because it's energy assault. Because you're like at the grocery store and all of a sudden it's like, hey, by the way, your grandfather said hi. Like, like I'm not in the mood for that.
And to know me, that is so not my style to walk up and be like, hey.
Yeah.
You know, I have this message, oh, this isn't going to work out for you or what. That's not up to me. So for me, the boundary is if you make an appointment, you're giving me the okay to be in your energy.
Right.
But I'm very, very like passionate about not being in other people's energy, not being an energy vampire and not abusing that way.
That's really, you know, I was just like, as you were saying, like I was thinking about, for you, like, you decided to make this a business, but you have this gift whether or not you decided to have this business.
Right.
You know, like the two of us, like before I ever decided to be a planner, I was planning my friends' group parties. You know what I mean? It's like, that's kind of who you are, and then you chose to like sort of make
chose a path that monetized that.
Right.
You are.
So,
and that's actually probably true for most people. It's like, there's
if
something
they would
that if you're
allow it.
If they would allow it.
Yes.
Like for most people in entrepreneurship though, in particular, often you like found yourself doing something, like there was something that you were always doing, and then you felt like Dawn,
I love this. Let me
Dawn
start
from
doing
One
this
Girl,
for money.
Like loved baking, like right. So now I'm going to start baking. Or Janine from Afro Chic was like, I love design. I'm going to start this
blog,
right?
Because
like,
it's such a different mentality.
Yes.
From the whole, you're 17 now. What are you going to do with the rest of your life?
Right.
Right.
So if let's say you're watching this and you think you might want to start a business, like what's the way to find what you want to do? Like how?
One of the biggest questions my clients come to me with is, how do I find my purpose? And that's so dramatic. Like,
right. That is so dramatic.
It's such a dramatic thing because I have found my purpose about 20 times in my lifetime.
Right.
So it's number one, take the whole Hollywood Wizard of Oz thing away.
Yeah.
Honestly, the real simple way to do it is, what are you attracted to? We have this like internal GPS that it kind of leads us to, oh, I like that, I don't like that, right? Why do you like something and I don't like it? Why do I like something and you don't?
Right.
So journalism and documentary making, how do they end up sitting doing this, right? Because you'll get led, and whether that's you're going to get led to a business opportunity, a person, or the right place in the right time, you're still going to get led.
The path you're taking isn't necessarily to the end goal that you necessarily thought you were going towards.
It is never to the plan. It's never. Like, we're so finite. Like, we're so in our minds, so one track. And, you know, and forgive the words, they're definitely going to sound airy-fairy, and you guys know I have such an issue with that.
Yeah.
The language is limited. So my guides, which we all have, showed me one time, I was standing outside and I was looking at this bush and there was this little ant and it was heading towards like the trunk of the bush. And they said to me, that's our perspective. And we can see that if we push you just around, you'll get there much faster.
Yeah.
The universe likes speed. The universe likes to take us there, like from New York, the A train.
Yeah.
The A train will bruise the crap out of you.
Yeah.
But
Right.
you'll get there much faster than if you take the local train.
Right.
Right.
So it's the same thing with our guides. When we ask the universe for something, it's not going to be in the way that we think, because we always want the least bruises, but we
Right.
want to get there the quickest.
Right.
And it's
Right.
like, sometimes those two things, most of the time, don't go together, and they just see a better way to get us there.
Owning a business, tons of anxieties, obviously.
Yeah.
And lots of decision making. Like we're making decisions on a constant basis. How can you tell the difference between what's a bad move, like what's a bad feeling, or what's just being afraid of taking a chance?
Right.
Okay, to bottom line it, the feeling of fear is a much more higher, anxious, it's more this, and the feeling of a bad feeling is more ominous. It's deeper, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
right? So I call it flapping when people start scrambling around in anxiety. It feels like there's pressure. It feels like there's a rush. A bad feeling doesn't feel like pressure or a rush. It just feels like something isn't 100%
It's
right.
almost a pull.
It's a pull, and the thing is, it's practice. Like you have to practice recognizing that. So I gave it colors. I said orange feels good. There's only two emotions, and everything else falls into it, good and bad, right? So I started doing it with simple things. Friends would ask, "Do you want to go out?" And I would be like, "Does that feel orange or does that feel brown?" Orange being good because it's my favorite color, and brown. Well, I mean, I like brown for certain things, but so I would say, "Does that go orange or does that go brown?" I'm like a 12-year-old. I can't change that. So even if it went a little tiny bit brown, it was still a bad feeling, and you can get it that fine tuned.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you can, and it's just about playing probably in situations that aren't as deep, aren't as traumatic.
Right.
So that you know, then
Going
when you
out's
get
a good
to
one. Going out's
a great one.
Like when
This
you get
happened on a
invited
Halloween
places.
for me,
Yeah.
where we were all set to go. Everybody had their costumes, and I just said, "Let me do a check-in." And I said, "Is this good or not?" And it went brown. I was like, "Oh my God!" So I hit up my friends. I was like, "I'm not coming." And there ended up being this huge brawl fight where somebody had like a gun. It was just crazy. I was like, right? And in Park Slope. Let me just say, this was not in the hood. This was straight up in the slope. But I was like, you know what? That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's really hard because I feel that, you know, because we're always making decisions, and I know that we have this all the time, like, sometimes you're hesitant and you're just like, is this fear? And you're so used to, as a business owner, fighting through the fear.
Yeah.
Right? So you're just like, I'm going to push past this. This is just me being afraid. So I think it's good to acknowledge or know how that feels different when it's a gut bad decision, because then you don't want to fight that, right? The fear you want to fight all day, all night.
Yeah.
But so that's really interesting. I feel like ever since we talked about that.
An energy that you can use.
Right.
Right.
Right? Because you can take the fear.
Right.
It's gasoline for your car.